Stick in the mud. The manager was as good as his word, Skarloey continued. I came home from the works with 6 wheels and a cab. A cab is the latest thing for engines, he told me. I hope it will cheer you up after your disappointment. Rheneas chuckled. It cheered him too much, and those silly coaches made him worse. Such a handsome engine, they tittered. 6 wheels and a cab, so distinguished, my dears. It's a pleasure to see him. He soon got too big for his wheels. Skarloey smiled ruefully. I did too, he said. Go on, Rheneas. He boasted about his cab till I was tired, said Rheneas. You should get one like me and be up to date, he would say. No, thank you. You look like a snail with that house on your back. You don't go much faster either. Slow am I? Let me tell you. Who was late 3 times last week? Oh, it's no use talking. You're just an old stick in the mud. He called me more names and we quarreled. We ended up back to back, not speaking. It went on for days and days. One dark Monday morning, Skarloey had to take the workman's train to the quarry. It had rained for 3 days. You always pick on me for wet days, he complained. You, said Mr. Bobby, have got a cab to keep us dry. Come on. Skarloey slipped and snorted on the damp rails. He began to wonder if cabs were worth it. An hour later, I was warming up when Skarloey's guard came coasting down in an empty car. He stopped by our shed. There's a landslide beyond the tunnel, he said. Skarloey's run into it. He's stuck. Show a wheel, Rheneas. Look lively. I'm sorry, Mr. Peters, sir, but that Skarloey's too swanky. He says I'm a stick in the mud. He can jolly well stick in the mud himself. It serves him right. But, went on my driver, there's poor Mr. Bobby and the quarrymen. Does it serve them right too? The guard says mud's like treacle. Oh dear, I said, that will never do. We must save them before they get sucked in. And off we puffed with 2 cars and some workmen. Things weren't too bad after all. The men had partly cleared the line and had levered Skarloey back. He was hissing and grumbling dreadfully, but we didn't listen to him. We cleared the rest of the line, and I pushed Skarloey out of the way before taking the quarrymen to work. Mr. Bobby cleaned and oiled his wheels in motion so that when I returned with the coaches, I could help him back to the shed. I'm sorry I was swanky, he said at last. Thank you for helping me. Not at all, I said, but I was still cross. Then Skarloey began to laugh. I'm the stick in the mud after all, he gurgled helplessly. Not you. I laughed too. I couldn't help it. He looked so funny. We were laughing when the cleaners came, and we were still laughing when they left. Poor engines, they said, tapping their foreheads. But we weren't mad. We had learned sense, and we've been firm friends ever since. It was nearly dark. The listeners stirred and stretched. Thank you, Skarloey and Rheneas, they said. Now you've told us about the old days, we can give you both a splendid birthday next week.